and Brownie.
It's a podcast bonus. Eddie Perfect, a Tony Award nominee for Beetlejuice the Musical, and is currently starring in the hit musical 9 to 5, which also stars Jonathan Brown's hairdresser buddy Marina Pryor, Casey Donovan and Caroline O'Connor. He's one of our New York buddies, and you can see Eddie in 9 to 5 the Musical at the State Theatre. Tickets available at 9to5themusical.com.au. Here's Mr. Perfect.
It's always a very emphatic yes when our producers say, "Oh, Eddie Perfect's talking about this. Do you want him in?" It's always a yes, Eddie. It's so great to see you.
Well, I'd love to see you too.
You know that, don't you? It's before we even know what it's about. It's a yes,
Yeah.
a yes.
It could be, or it could be anything.
Yeah,
Okay.
you could be
Anything you
spruiking
want.
Daniel's Donuts and we would get you in. But I just think in that intro there was a story that I think you're going to really enjoy.
Just the hairdresser, Marina and the hairdresser.
Yes.
What is going on?
Did that spark your interest?
Yeah, a little dopamine hit.
Okay.
My brain exploded.
Go on, Brownie.
Fantastic. I thought it might have. Who's going to explain it? Who's going to do the
Brownie.
honours?
Marina Pryor and myself have the same hairdresser. And I explained on there, same hairdresser, different hairstyles though, Eddie.
Right.
But that's our two links. So I often see Marina out in the wild. She's a lovely lady, and so I was very excited to see her on stage with you, mate.
Oh, she is so great. I mean, you know how you sometimes work with people and you're like, how are you happy? Because, you know, a lot of us are not happy or, you know, impermanent or, you know, edgy.
Yes.
She's just always right where she wants to be, and she's such a joyful person. I grew up with, you know, in the 90s, she was a huge star of the screen.
yes.
Always TV ads was all like, Marina Pryor.
Yeah.
You know, that
Was the
voice.
first one Phantom of the Opera?
Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah, I remember that was huge
with,
at the time.
with what's his name?
Anthony Warlock.
Anthony Warlock.
Yeah, those two. I thought they were married.
Yes,
I just thought they
Yeah.
just did everything together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
The Marina
There was
Pri-
that fantasy.
There wasn't the Marina Pryor story though. Can you just to take you? But yeah, you're a wonderful anecdotalist. You know, words are a gift.
Oh, God.
When Brownie was telling the story, right, about the coincidence of him and Marina Pryor having the same hairdresser, that was enough. The idea that he tagged the whole thing by making it clear to everyone, different hairstyles
Different
though. You know that, don't you?
hairstyles.
Yeah, mate, we picked that up.
Just to
we know that
clarify.
you and Marina Pryor don't have the exact. You don't go into the hairdresser and ask for the same dude.
Just to clarify, I thought,
Yeah.
Sam, you seemed a little bit confused.
Listen.
Thought I'll explain.
Hey, no,
Eddie,
you've been to this
Franklin
show.
Hart Jr. He plays the character of a famous character, and he's the hated boss of Consolidated Industries.
Played in
And-
the film by which actor? What's his name?
Sorry.
I've seen the film so many times and I'm just too tired to remember. I'm
I've
sorry.
never seen the film. I'm going to just admit
Really?
that here in this thing. I was in New York when Suzanne Jones, our producer, was like, "Do you want to play the villain in 9 to 5 the musical?" It's Dolly Parton. I'm just like, "That's a tick." And then Marina Pryor, Caroline O'Connor, Casey
Yeah.
Donovan, Erin Clare. Yeah, I want to do that. And I hadn't seen the film, and I didn't watch it. And I told my New York agent I was leaving, and he's like, "Oh, so." You're cool with like being hung from the roof in like a sex harness? And I was like, sorry, excuse me? Yeah. So I agreed to all of that, but I'm like, it's normal I normally get humiliated in everything I do, even if I write it for myself, as some kind of form of humiliation. So I actually enjoy it.
Geez, you do some time hanging from the ceiling.
A lot of hang
in your
time.
crotch pice.
In the sex harness.
Yeah,
harness.
there's quite an amazing moment at the end of Act 1 where the house lights come up and I'm just hanging
Still
like
dangling.
like a human teabag
Eddie,
from the roof.
is there a safe word if the sex harness gets you a bit funny in the crotch?
Well, we had to talk about safe words, me and the technicians, and there is a signal, which is if I cross my legs, that's a sign to come down. But I discovered that the harness is so tight around my crotch that I can't actually cross my legs. So there's no getting out
Oh,
of that.
no.
I just have to cry or something.
Now, Dolly Parton is obviously all over this musical. And have
She
you met
narrates it.
her, Eddie?
No, I haven't. But when her voice first came into the rehearsal room, because they get her to record these things for every place that this show goes, and so she's like, "Well, hey there, Adelaide," or whatever. And we listen to, she's all these places she's never been, and pretending like she knows what she's talking about. And but the power of Dolly is such that it's so effective. We were all like, "It's Dolly's in the room," even
It's
the
like
pre-recorded version.
it's like a real life angel is talking to you. She is a very special woman. I've been a fan of her my whole life.
You know,
I want to ask you, what is your favourite Dolly Parton song, if you have one?
I heard this song that I'd never heard before, but I heard it in Cabaret when Ash Flanders performed it at the opening of the Brunswick Ballroom here in Melbourne. It's this song called "He's Alive." That she sang at some kind of crazy awards night, but it's this really interesting sort of storytelling song, sung from the perspective of the apostles the day after Jesus has been crucified. And,
Wow.
And
Really?
it's like, it's really like kind of country and moody, all about going to the tomb and he's not there and where is he and we're under siege, and it's an amazing.
And she wrote it.
I don't know who wrote it.
She's amazing.
Wow, that's a very
I got some. He's alive.
Wow, the backstory and the power is very different to my choice, which is, of course, her duet with Burt Reynolds called Sneaking Around. Anyway, whatever, from the best little whorehouse in Texas. But that's fine. You and I are very different.
Look, there's a dolly for everyone.
So on your
There
favourite...
really is. My favourite is Here You Come Again, without question. Without question. Please don't kill it before the chorus.
Get out now.
Oh,
What about Jolene Brown?
Jolene's fantastic. Islands in the Stream.
One of the greats.
No, beat that with Kenny.
Hey, can I ask you what, like we saw you in New York,
Yeah.
which was 15, 20 years ago now.
28 years.
oh,
yeah.
it was so long.
Beetlejuice. Did it reopen this year?
Yeah, so it's back on Broadway, but in a new theatre at the Marquee Theatre, and it's doing really well. We've got the original cast come back, and everyone's happy and healthy. And
Did you go back for reopening night?
I did go back for reopening night, and there's a couple of crazy things that have happened. One is that they all of the art that people used to send in, and we used to get like bundles of it every day, and it covered the inside of the Winter Garden Theatre. That all had to come down when we left the Winter Garden Theatre, but they created this like a tribute wall for all the fan art that goes through what they call the breezeway where the Marriott Hotel is, and it's probably about 200 metres of huge wall covered in fan art, and it's this amazing, overwhelming kind of thing. And yeah, it's good to see. It was good to go back to see New York and kind of know that the show was in good shape, but at the same time, it's not quite back to what it was.
Now, what's easier, writing a famous musical, an award-winning musical like Beetlejuice, or hanging from the ceiling in a sex harness?
It's a lot
Or
easier.
what's more enjoyable?
It's always easier being in a sex harness. And
Lesson for life.
take note, kids. But
If ever given the choice in life, go for the sex harness.
yeah,
huh?
it's a passive role. And no, I mean, I really love acting, and I hadn't done it for quite a while, even, with the pandemic in mind. Coming back to it, we were all like, how do we have any time away from acting? And it gives you enough perspective to go, this is the stupidest, weirdest, most terrifying job ever.
I'm so excited. It's right up my alley. I love you. I love Dolly. I love Caroline O'Connor. I love Marina Pryor. I love Casey Donovan. I mean, the cast is unbelievable. Get along and see it.
And there's weed in it. See
Yeah.
Eddie in 9 to 5.
See? It's everything. It's everything.
The musical at the State Theatre. Tickets available at 9 to 5, themusical.com.au. You're a bloody genius and we love you.
Oh, thanks for having me on,
Thanks,
guys.
Eddie.
Chrissy, Sam and Brownie, Ripper Show will be back tomorrow. Chrissy, Sam and Brownie, unless it's a weekend.
Over 100.